Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for another great episode of the Pay-Per-View Wrestling Podcast. Today's episode, Kevin Owens being a heel and doing his job. It's all culminating here on the Pay-Per-View Wrestling Podcast. Now here's your host, Mark Flores. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Pay-Per-View Wrestling Podcast. We are here live with another great episode. Today's topic is going to be the Kevin Owens incident. And for those who do not know, Kevin Owens is under a bit of flack because a mother posted a video of Kevin Owens yelling at her 7-year-old son. And long story short, the kid's a big WWE fan. The kid tries to get attention from Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens then lashes out. I do have the actual audio file, so before we get into that, I want to go ahead and get the commercial spot out of the way and then give a brief synopsis on what I thought about TLC. And to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't up for doing a TLC review simply because of how lackluster it was, simply because it was really cut and dry. There wasn't really any fanfare in light of Survivor Series, then coming up to TLC, having these matches come one thing at a time wasn't really that entertaining to me to actually make a review on it. The only things to take out of it was AJ Styles retaining by James Ellsworth turning heel on Dean Ambrose, causing him the title. The camera work on that last match was very sloppy. You had Dean Ambrose looking wide-eyed, open, blinking, looking around while the camera was focused in on him, not having his eyes closed, selling the table spot. You also had AJ Styles with the hole in his trousers. That was pretty amusing. The best part about that is just making sure that you didn't get a bad shot of what AJ Styles had on as far as his shorts go. But other than that, you also had Alexa Bliss winning the WWE Women's Championship. Other than that, TLC was just, to me, a lackluster pay-per-view. They need to switch it up a little bit for me to keep wanting to tune into SmackDown Live Entertainment. I know I enjoy SmackDown Live a lot more than I do Monday Night Raw, but after all the hype going into Survivor Series and then having TLC, I just got really overwhelmed and decided not to do a review on TLC. But anyway, let's go ahead and get the Game Swapper spot out of the way before I go into the main segment of tonight's Pay-Per-View Wrestling Podcast. Hello, this is Mark Flores from the Mark F Podcast channel, here to let you know that this podcast episode is brought to you by Game Swappers. Come on down to Game Swappers, located at 4520 Holt Boulevard in Montclair, California, to buy, sell, and trade your current and retro video games from Nintendo Entertainment System to the PS4. Keep in mind that if you share any one of my podcast episodes through any form of social media, you'll get 10% off your entire purchase, or you'll get 10% more towards your retro game trade-ins. Follow Game Swappers on Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. That's GAMESWAPPERS. Game Swappers. Buy, sell, and trade. So now, let's go into the main segment of today's Pay-Per-View Wrestling Podcast. So guys, I'm going to give you guys the actual audio clip of what went down as far as Kevin Owens yelling at a little kid. And keep in mind, when I say that literally, it's just in the pure sense of him being an entertainer as far as Kevin Owens keeping kayfabe as being a heel would do. Now here's the audio spot that I'm going to post for you guys now. So, as you heard, the kid's wearing a Roman Reigns shirt. And I'm going to try to illustrate this audio as much as I can. So the little kid's wearing a Roman Reigns t-shirt. And he tries to get the attention of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is coming off of a live event, coming on to the ramp to go to the ring for the event. His entrance music is in the background, as you heard. The little kid tries to get his attention. Then Kevin Owens says, you should be wearing this shirt. And Kevin Owens is pointing to the attention of him with the Kevin Owens Show t-shirt. Then Kevin Owens says, you know what? I don't want you to buy this t-shirt. And don't you ever try to touch me. And then he leaves. This would just be completely fine audio for any other day of the week in WWE. This isn't anything surprising. This isn't anything new. But yet, the mother of the 7-year-old son decided to take action on her social media and put up a post. I read the post myself, and to summarize, it basically went, hello, I am a mother of a huge WWE fan. He's my son. We go to these events all the time. We go to all these extra events as well. We also buy all the merchandise. But when Kevin Owens yelled at my kid, I was offended, and I didn't think that was right for Kevin Owens to yell at my kid. This also affected me. This affected my son. This also had something to do with my mom, her mother, who also is, I guess, suffering from leukemia that she randomly brought out, which totally has nothing to do with the situation. Granted, I do feel for her grandmother as far as for the sake of bringing it up. It's pretty sad to have that kind of debilitating disease. But for her to bring mention of that is totally irrelevant to the point that she wants to make. What I felt reading this letter was just a very grand, well-written reach to ask for the attention of WWE and to have a reply from them. But let's look back at the situation. Granted, the letter's already done. It's not necessarily even a letter. It's just a social media Facebook post rant. So now you have Kevin Owens getting criticized for doing his job as a heel in the wrestling world. The kid was affected by this on the grounds of him being insulted by Kevin Owens and being embarrassed. Little does the kid know that heels have been doing this in the professional wrestling business since the 1970s. He is in a long line of men, women, children that have been worked by heels since the start of wrestling. This kid can just join the simple long line of being insulted by the heel, getting your sign ripped by the heel, getting trash talked by the heel during a match, etc. It always happens. There's no new. This is not anything new. This isn't a new event. This little kid has not been experienced to anything that has not been done before. Kevin Owens is a damn good heel. He's a damn good wrestler. For him to receive even critical backlash of this in like a comment section of this video is insulting to me. And it's also insulting to the people working in the wrestling business. It's great because you're bringing advertisement where there was none through various videos, which is great. But the funny thing is that everyone around that believes that Kevin Owens genuinely said this is all part of the work. This kid got worked. The mom got worked. For her to be totally invested and for her to totally believe that Kevin Owens genuinely said something insulting and meant it is a part of the work. If he literally meant it, he would have been outside in his clothes, not been Kevin Owens. He could have been somebody, he could have been who Kevin Owens is really outside of the ring, just a regular ass dad, saying something. But he's not. Kevin Owens is a family man. He has a kid himself. And you have this situation here where Kevin Owens says something insulting to a 7-year-old kid, and it will totally not work in the outside realm of the wrestling business. I just want to bring a lot of emphasis to that, because the fact of the matter is that this mom didn't catch Kevin Owens saying this shit outside of the wrestling world. He wasn't at the airport saying this. He wasn't at a signing doing this. No. This kid, was at a wrestling event behind the barricade, a part of a live event. When you're in the audience, you are a part of the live event. If you're in the first 3 rows, if you're in the first couple rows near the ring, you are a part of the show as the wrestlers themselves. You hold a certain merit to you by being a part of that show. Yeah, you can get your sign ripped down. You get yelled at. You can yell back. As long as you're not hurting the talent, you can say whatever the hell you want. You could be a heckler. It doesn't matter to me. But you are a part of what makes heels and what makes baby faces. And for the mom of this kid who got yelled at by Kevin Owens to ruin the dynamic of that is in fact what is going to be hurting wrestling if this tries to take into effect later on. And what I mean by that is this. If something comes out of this situation where Kevin Owens or any other heel for that matter can't yell at kids, then that's not wrestling. It's not at that point, because then you're taking the work out of it. You're taking a heel's ability to get heat. What a bad guy needs to do in wrestling is to make sure that you are fucking pissed off at him. That's what he needs to do. And for him to do that, he has to go and do as much as he can within the audience to stir shit up. For someone to try to take what Kevin Owens did in all seriousness is still surprising to me. It's definitely surprising. But then for them to make a social media post about this and try to make something out of this is just it's just mind-boggling to me, because no one else has ever done this. This is the first time I've heard of an instance where this has gotten so much heat, so much a controversy for it. But then again, I have to realize that this is the 2010s. This is the day of, if you're upset at somebody, if you're upset at your boss, if you're upset at anybody, you're going to record it, and then you're going to put it on social media to then vent your frustrations instead of communicating to that person about your frustrations yourself. That's what it is in a nutshell. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that this Kevin Owens situation is something that you have to take with a grain of salt. Kevin Owens himself did not mean it. Kevin probably pretty much forgot about this incident. As far as I'm concerned, he goes to so many live events. I mean, how is he supposed to remember this specific incident? Hell, if it wasn't even recorded, it'd be hard for Kevin Owens to even remember the fucking kid. But anyway, my final thought to this situation is this. If you have a frustration with heels doing heel-like tactics to gain heat in the live event, in per storylines, whatever, then you should be watching wrestling from afar. Watch it at home. If you're in the first couple rows at a live event, the back of your ticket basically entails them to do whatever the hell they want within certain guidelines. And no one is responsible for it. That's all it is. You have to remember that this is all a work. The kid had some emotion because Kevin Owens said, "Don't touch me." Matter of fact, don't even wear a Kevin Owens shirt. But that's what he does. The kid was wearing a Babyface's t-shirt. Kevin Owens had to react as a heel to that babyface to then gain heat. And I bet at Roadblock, when that kid sees Kevin Owens face Roman Reigns, he is going to be very upset at Kevin Owens. Why? Because Kevin Owens just gave heat to the fucking kid. This is all part of the fucking plan. You have to understand that. Kevin Owens built up the reputation to say, you know what, the guy you're wearing, his shirt sucks. And then the kid's going to remember that. The kid's going to hate Roman Reigns going into Roadblock. Who the hell's facing Roman Reigns at Roadblock? Kevin Owens. It's for the Universal title. So this is all part of the system. The kid has to realize that he just got worked. The mom needs to realize she got worked. She got worked because he thought Kevin Owens was shooting on her kid. It upsets me. It upsets me because I to hear negativity spew from comments about this situation that Kevin Owens should tone his heel-like tactics down. Bullshit. You should have told that to Ric Flair to tone his shit down. Tell that to every other heel working indie promotions. You know, if you start telling people to stop gaining heat, then you don't have wrestling at its core, where it's baby faces and heels gaining heat, baby faces do whatever they have to do to make sure the morale's up for the positive morale's up. And it's up to the heels for them to bring heat towards the situation, for you to despise them. Point blank, the kid got worked, the mom got worked. No one should be writing letters to anybody, and that's about it. I mean, I'm through ranting about this situation. It's very important for me to discuss this because you have to sometimes with situations like this, you have to take a step back, be on the outside looking in, and then you'll realize what you have. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Pay-Per-View Wrestling Podcast. I'm Mark Flores. You can catch me on Twitter at MarkF's Podcast or on Instagram at MarkF's Modern Life for any wrestling updates, chatting about anything, really. I'm an open book. So you guys catch me on the social medias. I'll see you guys later.